This video is part of the series of beginner training for Phasmophobia players. If you just started or are recently new to Phasmophobia, hopefully these videos will be helpful. This one in particular is going to lay out the truck when you load into a map, and we're going to dig right in. So we've loaded into the truck. You'll notice there's a lot of stuff here. This is a key. There will always be a key on a map. This allows you into the front door or any outside door of the building you're going to enter. You hit E to pick that up. Always do that. When you go to the front door, if you don't have it, the door won't open. You got to go back and get the key. Pretty funny. So the optional objective board is just that. It's the objectives of your hunt. This is going to guide you through what you should accomplish, and it's a little different each time. Objective 1 is always going to be to discover the ghost. That objective is not randomized, does not change. Objectives 2 through 4 are randomized for each hunt. Some of them are very simple things that you can accomplish basically as soon as you walk in. Other ones are more complex that involve letting the ghost chase you and not dying. They range in varying difficulties, varying challenges, and you don't have to complete them all. You don't have to complete any objectives, but each one of these is going to give you money. At this point, it's $10 a piece when you leave and you get your reward. That's your objectives. If you notice the paragraph below that, you've got the ghost name. There is a relevant reason for that. Ghost name, if you use it, typically angers the ghost more and more. So if you want your ghost to be more active, or if you wanted him to start hunting you, which there's reasons for that, you can use that name and get them fired up and angry at you. The ghost responds alone or in groups. When you're talking to the ghost or you're trying to trigger certain things, sometimes you do want to be in the room or wherever it is by yourself, and other times you want multiplayers in there to get it to respond. So if you're not getting responses to certain things or things don't seem to be very active, one option is to have folks leave the area and try the same type of response interactions to see if you get any info that way. So that's your optional objectives board. If you hit the J button, this is your journal. This is sort of your overall reference manual for the hunt. It's very good. You've got your tabs at the top. The overview is a very similar step. You're dealing with this whiteboard. It's going to mimic that. You're going to see these optional objectives. It says grab your key, tells you the ghost name. We don't know what it responds to, so it's got a lot of that same info. So you don't have to keep coming back to the truck and look at that. If this video is helpful, please take 3 seconds and crush that spider in the bottom right of your screen. I appreciate it. Thanks. Moving along. Tanglewood Street House. This was the map we selected. This is going to be an overview layout of the actual map itself. In this case, you've got arrows that show you the floors, first floor, second floor. The green entry point, which will be the front door, is located right there. You can see that. And then you have this power switch, in this case a breaker as they call it. This toggles the power of the house on and off. This will allow you to turn on light. It will also increase the temperature of the house, will help you find the ghost. And so it is important to maintain that. In this case, it's on the first floor, and that happens to be the garage. And you simply push the button on the breaker. It's a red box. It will turn green and your power is on. Next, Team Sanity. Team Sanity, and you'll notice this average as well, is essentially a ghost hunt life bar. You'll have a sanity box for each player. In this case, it's just me, but if I had 3 other players, you would have a similar box with a different colored line, one representing each player. And then our sanities might change in different levels, so the average represents the average of the number of players' sanities together. Some ghosts hunt when your average sanity is pretty high, and then continue to hunt you as it drops. Other ghosts will not hunt you until you hit a different sanity level, for instance, a 50% or 40%. It depends on the ghost types, but just know your average sanity helps you navigate the timer, if you will, of the potential risk of ghost hunt. Whatever color bar you have here will also determine your dot on the map. Other players that are in the truck during the hunt will be able to see where you are on the map, and your dot color can be followed and guided. It's particularly helpful on large maps. Somebody may get lost or may be close to the place and can't quite find it. Somebody in the truck will be able to guide them and get them to the right spot. So it's another cool feature they did. Sound sensors. There's a particular item, looks like a microphone, and we'll show you that, where if you place that in the house at different locations, it will pick up paranormal sounds. Then you have this total activity. This is representing the ghost activity in the building. Activity level ranges from 0 to 10, and this will vary over time. If the ghost is hunting somebody in the house, it will register to a 10, and it will remain a 10 over the cycle. you can kind of follow the hunt. As soon as the hunt's over, that activity will drop, and so you can tell that the ghost is done hunting, and you can re-enter the building and resume your evidence gathering. Computer's actually relevant. Besides being able to click the keyboard and type, people love doing that. If you click the keyboard, it toggles a night vision and then a regular vision. In this case, there's a pre-built camera at the front door of this particular map. Not overly helpful, but in larger maps, there's cameras throughout already built in. You can cycle those. How you cycle cameras is with the mouse. You would simply come over here and click your left button on the mouse, and it will toggle through the cameras you have set up. You can bring your own cameras and set them up in different spots. You also have head cameras here that players should pick up, and wherever those players are, you can click through those active cameras as well by clicking the mouse. It may be easier to see night vision, it may be easier to see regular. Again, as you go to each camera, you can select either or. The last thing I'll point out over here is this timer. If you remember when we talked about difficulty settings, there was a certain amount of lead up time before the ghost became active and you could prepare. This is that timer. This represents the amount of time you have to get set up before the active ghost hunting timer begins. I'm on professional, so there is no prep time. As soon as I enter that house, I begin to count down to when that ghost will get angry at me and hunt me. Same thing with nightmare. Amateur and intermediate, there is some timer there, so it gives you a little more leeway, a little more of a buffer. But that's how you can track that. It will count down accordingly, and when it hits 0, you're at risk. The truck was recently overhauled. The equipment used to all be on shelves. Now it's on a wall. I like it. It's a little easier to see things. Here you have your wall of equipment. This corresponds to the inventory items we selected before we loaded in. Remember, we added whatever, we bought whatever, and put it in our lists. This is what we brought. These are all the items. I'll go through what each item does in a different section, but just know this is everything we selected and brought. If you pick up equipment, you want to use the E button. You can carry up to 3 pieces of equipment in your hand and the head camera as well on top of your head. That does not count. If I pick up something that I did not want by mistake, you can hit the G button. It will throw it down. If you dropped it by accident, you can come down and get the E button and pick it back up. You don't lose it. Just know that you can drop and pick up. Not a big deal. The other item I'll show you, the last thing in the truck, is there's this keypad. So you come up to it and hit your left mouse. This will open and close the truck doors. To leave the hunt, you would press it again. If you press it again and the doors close, you're going to leave the hunt. No matter what you've selected, what you've done, not done, that is it. You're closing the doors. You cannot leave without all the alive players in the truck. So if you have dead players, you can leave without them, but all alive players must be in the truck before you can truly leave. So that covers the truck basics in detail. Hopefully it was helpful. Again, if it was helpful to you, please consider supporting my channel. I greatly appreciate you watching. Have a good one.